Hello everyone and welcome to Northeast Living. I'm Mark Jennings, your host. Now is the time when the kids are going back to school, but that still leaves the weekends as a great time for families to get out and have some fun. Recently, I had a blast as I stopped by a place that not only was a ton of fun, but I also learned a few things. Take a look. Boy, do I love animals, and recently I discovered right here in Connecticut, there's one zoo, Bearsley Zoo in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And with over 300 animals on display, I needed to come and get a personal tour.
Hey Mar, welcome to Connecticut's Bearsley Zoo.
Hi Jim, it's so great to be here. Now you're the curator of education. Yes. What can we expect?
We got a great day planned for you, an action-packed day. I hope you're not afraid of tigers, are you?
Tigers, do I have to feed them?
No.
I think I'll be okay then.
What we're going to do is we're going to toss some enrichment over the perimeter of the exhibit, and they're going to get a couple different types of meat enrichment. They're carnivores, they're going to love it, and we're going to see the dynamic, and hopefully they share.
There are many attractions throughout the park that let you get up close and personal with many of the animals. Jim, what is this?
Okay, remember I said we had an action-packed day?
Yes.
Well, we're not going to disappoint. This is an animal painting done by one of our animal artists, Joaquin, our Andean bear, and you are going to have a chance to paint with him.
So I get to paint with a bear?
Yes, you do.
Painting with a bear is not an easy task. First, you apply paint colors and overall design to the canvas. Then, with a trained zoo professional, the bear is guided to the canvas and rewarded for his efforts. Each piece is truly unique and is not something you experience every day. Jim, talk about an experience of a lifetime here.
It was our pleasure today.
For more information about Bearsley Zoo, check out their website at bearsleyzoo.org, and always remember, it's closer than you think. Betsy Ross was onto something when she created the American flag. For centuries, we've been inspired by the red, white, and blue, not just with our flag, but other flags as well. Design magazines have been incorporating red, white, and blue and the stars and stripes for decades. But here are a couple of fun ways that I like to call the American way to incorporate the fun, patriotic look in your decor and design. Pillows are a great way to bring the red, white, and blue in your home without a big commitment. Now, here I went to Walmart and picked up an extra large t-shirt for $3.50. I can take that t-shirt and cut it down and use it as fabric to upholster an old pillow. Now, if you can sew it yourself, well, that's extra credit. If you can't, go ahead and take it to your dry cleaners. Well, they'll have someone there that can sew it for you. Here's my inspiration, a Ralph Lauren pillow. This pillow is about 20 years old, and it was a little bit of a bite for my budget. Nevertheless, it still has that same flair and powerful punch that it had from the first day that I bought it. The red, white, and blue flags are normally seen hanging. There's a wonderful way to also take the same simple flags in a fun new way in your garden. I love to incorporate them in my planters as I line them with the red, white, and blue flags. It's a great pop of color, especially as you go into later in the season for the garden. You can even find inexpensive lighting that is inspired by red, white, and blue as well. This is a wonderful way to incorporate a little bit of color, patriotic flow, and also a great way to get a little illumination in a much needed area. So when it comes to using the red, white, and blue, you can think of Betsy Ross, but more importantly, you can think of a couple of fun ways that you can create red, white, and blue as a wonderful accent in your design, whether it be you're wearing it, showcasing it, or even designing with it.
One of the benefits of living in the Northeast is you have island getaways right in your own backyard. I'm standing in front of the Block Island Express with Stan. Now Stan, it takes a little over an hour to get to Block Island?
That's right, on the Block Island Express, the Jessica W. high-speed ferry. In just over 1 hour, you're on Block Island, in Old Harbor, in the center of it all, within walking distance of great white sandy beaches, restaurants, downtown shops.
I'm looking forward to enjoying the sun on the ride, so let's go.
Anybody want to go through Domino's Pizza or anything?
I enjoyed the beautiful sun and the nice smooth ferry ride. Now it's time to explore the islands. So Jessica, tell me, when somebody comes off the ferry, what can they do?
If you want to get out and get about, you can rent a moped, you can rent a bike.
Which I like to do.
Yep. You can rent a car actually out here if you do want to get around and you need help. You can take a taxi tour also if you want to get out and see, you know, the bluffs and some of the sightseeing areas that are a little bit further off.
So pretty much everywhere you'd want to go in the island, you could get to it by foot.
Absolutely.
I saw the petting zoo over there. You can actually feed the animals.
Absolutely.
And they have kangaroos there?
They have kangaroos and lemurs and llamas and they have a zedong.
And camels.
I don't kiss on the first date, I'm sorry. Maybe on the second.
Oh, you
Yes.
Oh, that's good. There's many great restaurants on the island, but one of my favorites is Dead-Eye Dick's, an island institution. And under new management, the menu's even better. For those of you who love a raw bar, Dead-Eye Dick's has a wide variety, including the Salt Pond Platter. So whether it's a trip for the day or a longer stay, Block Island is a great place to go. And the best way to get there is the Block Island Express.
Wow, Elaine, a day trip to Block Island is the perfect way to finish off the summer. You get the best assignments. We're gonna take a short break, but before we do, I have this week's fun trivia question for you. What adopted Connecticut Yankee author once lived in the Hartford's Nook Farm section and had the interior of his home designed by none other than Louis Comfort Tiffany? I'll have the answer for you when we come back with more Northeast Living. Welcome back to Northeast Living. So, do you know which famous Connecticut author had his interior home designed by Tiffany Glass? It was Samuel Clemens. We all know him as Mark Twain. I had the chance to visit this landmark home and experience it for myself. It was a little spooky. Take a look. We're all familiar with Mark Twain's famous characters, Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. But what you might not know is that he wrote about them right here at his home in Hartford, Connecticut. So let's learn about this man and his home.
Here in Hartford, where he lived from 1874 to 1891, sort of from his late 30s to his late 50s, he was a family man. This was where he brought up 3 daughters, where he lived some of the happiest days of his life and some of the most productive in terms of his literary output.
And he was one of 7 children, right?
He was, and his siblings were very important to him.
Tell me a little bit about this space that we're in.
Well, we're on the 3rd floor of the Mark Twain house in Mark Twain's billiard room. It was fashionable in those days for a gentleman to have a billiard room in a large house of this type. He was always playing billiards with his friends. It was sort of the center of their social life. There'd be a whole bunch of gentlemen up here around the table shooting cues. But little by little, it became his workroom. As you can see from what you see around you, he was a messy guy.
Messy guy, right.
Yeah, he liked to crumple up papers, throw them on the floor, tack things up on the wall. I believe that there was an order that the servants not come up here to clean, that he wanted to leave things the way he had them. So all in all, it was a place for both work and the relaxation that's necessary to produce good work.
So the 2nd floor are the bedrooms, right? We're gonna go there next.
You may have heard about our ghost tours. These are some of the areas in which some of the stories we've heard may have taken place. This was where Sam and Libby slept, and it is also the source of some of the odder stories about occurrences in the house that people may have heard about recently.
And that is the hauntings.
That is the hauntings. The family did suffer a real tragedy. In 1896, their eldest daughter, Susie, then 24, died in the house. There have been reports from people who have seen figures in this part of the house, might have seen a figure of a woman in a gown. We're not sure which room of the house Susie died in. Other people have reported odd noises, maybe a little whiff of cigar smoke now and again.
Well, I think it's a little spooky, but I'm not scared, but I would love to see the first floor now.
Well, let's go there.
So Patty, this is the guest room.
Yes, this was the place that you would have stayed if you came to visit the house if you were not a family guest.
Tell me about the restoration that's going on in this room.
Sure. Restoration really kind of began in the 60s of the first time that the restoration was worked on. We're taking another look at it again because in the absence of physical photographic evidence, we're trying to find any little nooks and crannies to really give us an idea of what it really looked like.
Not only did I learn about Mark Twain, but I also got to experience his home as well. And you too can experience it. Check out their website at marktwainhouse.org. The Westport Country Playhouse is located in Westport, Connecticut, right in my backyard. So I thought I'd contact Mark Lemos, the artistic director, to get a private tour and to learn all about its deep, rich history. Mark, thank you so much for being on the show. It's so great to have you here at the iconic Westport Playhouse, on the stage no less.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being here, Mark.
Well, it's my pleasure. The Westport Playhouse is celebrating its 80th anniversary, so that's a great deal of lineage.
There's a feel about the place, which I guess is the same thing I felt when I first walked into it myself. You know, I just thought there's something really, you know, every theater has a certain magic to it, there's no question. But this one really is very special. Part of it, I think, is the history that happened on this space. When you enter our lobby, you will see this wall that is spectacular. And again, this is like no other theater in America has this. The posters for the shows that were here. In this place, there was a theater for 81 now years, bringing all kinds of actors, designers, directors here. Cedric Hardwicke, Vivien Leigh, George Abbott, a Broadway legendary director.
Joanne Woodward, Paul Newman, clearly we have Eartha Kitt, Jane Powell, Gene Wilder. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
Actors love to work here.
I'm in the green room where all the other actors have been years before me. I think Joanne Woodward sat right here. Yeah, I can feel it. There's a lot of talent in this chair. Now that is a cape. Look at how young some of these people look. These people, wow. Jane Curtin. And there's a little space right here for me. Growing up as a child in Westport, I used to come here to the Westport Playhouse, and I remember I would never wear shorts because I'd get splinters, and I could sit in the seats and also see the parking lot through the cracks. A lot has changed.
It's a beautiful restoration, and very little of the old Playhouse exists.
A little piece of history. Now, exit stage right.
And Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman, who were longtime Westporters, and a group of small but very devoted patrons of the arts here, made this happen. And it's a state-of-the-art theater. When I first worked here a few years ago, oddly enough, I replaced Paul Newman, who was going to direct Of Mice and Men. He was too ill, and in fact, sadly died during the rehearsals. But I was rehearsing here, and I remember walking into this space and thinking, oh my gosh, I would love to make theater here more than just this one show.
Mark, it's wonderful to have you on the show, and you're my first Tony winner that I've had on the show, so there'll be more. And to learn more about the Westport Playhouse, please check out their website, westportplayhouse.org. I admit it, I've been having an affair with my home for years, and when I met Donna Kraft, who's also as passionate and loving about her home, well, I knew I wasn't alone. Welcome to Maple Hill Farm. Let's learn about the home, the owner, and her philanthropic mission.
Welcome, Mar.
It's such a treat to be here, Donna. Thank you so much for opening up your home.
Come on in and let me show you around.
Okay. Look at this space. Oh, wow. Donna, so we're in the family room. Now, I understand that the Wheeler family purchased this land in 1937 and built the house in 1950. How did you first learn of this house?
Well, 20 years ago, we used to go visit my husband's family who lived down the street. Phil grew up on the street. And one day we took a different route home and I saw the house. I fell in love with it. As a Canadian native, to me it was the quintessential all-American home. I heard from friends in my garden club and other friends that the home might be going on the market. My husband Phil encouraged me to put in a note in the mailbox, and as silly as I thought it was, I went ahead and did it, and I put it in, and the next day the owner called me and said, "Why don't you come and see the house?"
Donna, you have breathtaking gardens, and I know you've been featured in local and national magazines. Tell us a little bit about the gardens.
Well, I really can't take credit for most of what you see out there, but originally the property was much more farm-like and much more natural, and as beautiful as that was, the second owner came in and made the property more designed, and that's where you see all the English parterres and boxwoods. We have peonies and hydrangea, and it's just a really beautiful place, all 4 seasons.
You're so active with different charities and being part of the community. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, from a very young age, I've always loved to plan parties, and as a teenager, my dad used to give me a hard time about how many parties I had at home, but I've learned to channel that energy now as an adult, and I use Maple Hill Farm as a place to hold numerous charity events throughout the year.
So let's talk a moment about those charities that you're involved with.
Well, I have several that I'm really passionate about. One is the Norma Freeman Breast Care Center. I wear many hats there. I am on the advisory board. I'm the vice chair of the President's Council. The President's Council is a group of women that do fundraising events for the Breast Care Center, and all the money that we raise goes to the uninsured and the underinsured, so they get all the care they need from mammograms to surgery.
There's nothing better than helping out a local charity. Get involved. Thanks so much, Donna.
It was nice to see you. Make sure you stop by my next event.
You got it. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have more Northeast Living. Welcome back to Northeast Living. During the American Revolution, the Connecticut shoreline was the scene of several naval battles, including the British siege on Fort Trumbull and New London. Our own Elaine Irvin visited this amazing place to learn more. Take a look.
Mar, we're at Fort Trumbull State Park in New London, and this fort was built from 1839 to 1852. Although the original Fort Trumbull that no longer stands was built much earlier, as John Lincoln, the park supervisor, explained to me. The first fort used to be over in this area here?
Yes, the first fort was in this area here. It was attacked by the British under Benedict Arnold in 1781. And after the Revolutionary War, President Washington asked Congress for funds to upgrade all their coastal fortifications. This structure behind me was built, and it's called a blockhouse. That became known as the first system of coastal defense. And then the second Fort Trumbull was built just prior to the War of 1812. And the third Fort Trumbull to be built, which was part of the third system of coastal defense, is still here today, and it's open to the public.
So wow, John, this looks like something straight out of the Gladiators movie.
It's quite a fort. It's a two-tier fort, so they had cannon on 2 levels, and we have stairways up to the top.
Oh wow, this really is an amazing view, huh?
It's a commanding view of New London Harbor.
Oh, true. Nobody can sneak up on you. Okay, so I've always wondered, grass on the roof, why?
Well, the grass is just there to hold the earth in place, and the earth is what would absorb the impact of a projectile.
Like a cannon?
Yes.
Oh, good idea. This fort is a wonderful example of its era, a masterpiece with its stonework and its masonry. The fort has informational markers and displays, and also touchable cannons and statues. So John, this is the only cannon left from the original fort?
Yes, this is a 24-pounder flank howitzer. It would be fired by a long stick with a lit rope on the end. All the exhibits in here tell a story from a different time period in the fort's history. We call this the 50s room. It's as it would have appeared in the 1950s when it was occupied by the Naval Underwater Sound Lab. These rooms are all furnished as they would have appeared during the Civil War. And this is the fort's magazine. This is where they kept all the gunpowder.
Oh wow, this is a lot of ammunition.
Probably not as much as it was back then.
Probably not.
This is a room where they filled the powder bags to service the guns, and it was also used as a guardhouse and a brig.
Oh, I can't imagine being a prisoner here.
Oh, there's some etchings over there in the windowsill where Bill Baker was in here for 5 days.
The ground surrounding Fort Trumbull makes for a great picnicking area, and they also have a pier that you can fish off of. Before you walk around Fort Trumbull, make sure you check out the Visitor Center to see their different displays explaining the history.
The Fort's Visitor Center has a lot of hands-on activities, interactive exhibits, scale models, graphics, 3 theaters.
So if you're looking for a fun-filled day full of history and great views, Fort Trumbull State Park is a great place to be. Visit their website for more information.
And there you have it. On behalf of everyone here at Northeast Living, thank you so much for watching. And make sure you stay tuned for Cars.com's On the Road. Coming up next. I'm Mark Jennings. Goodbye, everyone.